The king of cocaine, Pablo Escobar's story is one of ambition, power, violence, and contradiction. Born on December 1, 1949, in Rio Negro, Colombia, Escobar grew up in poverty, yet he always dreamed of wealth and influence. As a teenager, he started his journey to infamy with petty crimes, selling fake diplomas, smuggling stereo equipment, and even stealing gravestones to resell. These were the humble beginnings of a man who would later become the most feared and powerful drug lord in the world. By the 1970s, Escobar saw a golden opportunity in cocaine. The drug trade was expanding rapidly, and Escobar positioned himself at the center of this burgeoning industry. He founded the Medellin Cartel, an organization that grew to dominate the global cocaine market. Escobar was not just a trafficker, he was a visionary. He established supply routes, built sophisticated labs deep in the jungles, and smuggled cocaine into the U.S., hidden in everything from tires to planes. At the height of his empire in the 1980s, Escobar was supplying 80% of the world's cocaine, earning an estimated $420 million per week. His wealth was staggering. He bought mansions, private jets, and even a personal zoo that housed exotic animals like hippos and giraffes. His fortune was so immense that he spent $2,500 a month just on rubber bands to hold his cash. Yet, his story was not just about opulence. In Medellin, where poverty was rampant, Escobar became a paradoxical figure, a ruthless criminal to some and a savior to others. He used his wealth to build housing, schools, and soccer fields. He funded hospitals and gave money to the poor, earning him the nickname El Patron, or the boss. For many in Medellin's slums, Escobar was a hero who challenged the corrupt system. But his generosity had a dark side. It was not purely altruistic, it was a strategy. By winning the loyalty of the poor, he built a network of informants and allies who protected him from law enforcement. He also maintained his power through fear. Escobar ruled with an iron fist and a simple philosophy: plata o plomo, silver or lead. Take his bribe or face his bullets. This ruthless approach ensured that anyone who opposed him paid with their life. Judges, politicians, journalists, and police officers were assassinated by the hundreds. Entire planes were bombed to eliminate a single target. By the late 1980s, Escobar had turned Colombia into one of the most violent places on earth. One of his most infamous acts was the 1989 bombing of Avianca Flight 203, which killed 107 people. His target, a presidential candidate who opposed him, was not even on board. Such acts of terror underscored his willingness to go to any lengths to maintain his dominance. Escobar's wealth and power made him untouchable for years, but his arrogance brought him into open conflict with the Colombian government. He declared war on the state, assassinating officials and bombing buildings. In response, Colombia, with assistance from the U.S., launched an aggressive campaign to dismantle his empire. In 1991, Escobar struck a controversial deal. He agreed to surrender in exchange for immunity from extradition to the U.S. and the ability to build his own prison. La Catedral, as it was called, was no ordinary jail. It had a soccer field, a bar, and luxurious living quarters. From this fortress, Escobar continued to run his empire. But when the government realized he was still committing crimes, they attempted to transfer him to a real prison. Escobar escaped, disappearing into the Colombian countryside. For 16 months, Escobar evaded capture, but his enemies were closing in. A coalition of forces, including the Colombian military, U.S. Special Forces, and rival cartels, relentlessly hunted him. On December 2, 1993, a tip from an informant led authorities to a house in a Medellin neighborhood. Escobar tried to escape across rooftops, but he was cornered. In a final shootout, he was killed, shot through the ear. Whether the fatal shot came from authorities or was self-inflicted remains a mystery. A mystery till now.